welcome to this memory lane event where we're going to do basically a scrapbook layout share. Those are always so much fun. So I hope that you jump on, say hi, join me for this special event. And of course, if you're catching the replay, make sure to say hi as well, because we always enjoy that. All right. So how are you guys doing? Hopefully doing good. I must confess, I have a confession. I'm going to try to make this short and sweet, but often we have other guests come on and we try really hard to coordinate with this memory lane. Like we've had different designers come on and share their top 5 favorite layouts for these memory lanes. And we'll continue to have other guests throughout this year. But this specific one, I thought, oh, that's okay. I'll do it. I'll share some of my layouts. Well, guys, it's harder than you think to just pick 5. It's so hard. And I'm a little guilty because I have probably close to 15 sitting in front of me. And I was so scattered before we start. We were, David's in the background. He's like, it's time. And I was like, I know, I don't know which layouts I'm going to do. So I feel for the previous guest because I didn't know such a high task that we were asking of them to do. So yeah, I'm gonna go with it, and I'll share what I can share in the time that we have. But overall, what I love about this event, it really is taking a peek at some of those finished layouts and being inspired by them. And that's our goal, is to help inspire you, not only in the ideas, but also in methods and helping you simplify your scrapbooking process, utilize your paper stash, and complete some pages of your own. So the goal here is to walk away with 1 or 2 of these ideas that just give you enough of that itch that you can't resist to go put some time on your calendar to go pull out a page and just take it in bite size. I've been recently had a layout. I had to clear it off for this event on my table for the last few days. And the days have been busy, right? But I love not only that I get a chance to just carve out a little bit of 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there, but I can actually pick up where I left off as well. So for example, I've just had this layout on my table, and for the last 3 or 4 days, I've just been kind of walking by sometimes 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, literally. And it's slowly coming together. I can see the end in sight, and it just took a couple minutes here and there. But like I said, it was kind of nice because I could kind of pick up where I left off last time because I had my game plan as far as the designer templates laid out and my paper picked out and all of these formulas and methods that we share here often at Kiwi Lane that really helped make that possible. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much again for joining me. So really quickly, I'm going to throw it out there. We are going to not only share some layouts on this memory lane, but so we're going to revisit some completed pages. But we're going to also, I'm going to kind of highlight some different accessory sets that I used on these. And because of that, we are doing a flash sale. You can expect some more flash sales during these live events. So make sure to tune in when you see them pop up through the summer. And we're going to do 25% off our accessory category. So if there has been an accessory or 2 accessories that you've had on your wish list, we hope that this helps you, save a little bit and pick those up so that it's just kind of like our little gift to you to help you finish more pages stress-free and beautifully finish them. All right. So that coupon code is accessory 25. So 25. So accessory 25. And that is valid for the next 24 hours, basically. All right. So make sure to utilize that. And like I said, we hope that it's kind of just helps you add to your useful tools that you can use over and over again to create beautiful layouts of your own. All right. So let's stroll down memory lane with me if you guys are ready. Like I said, I have a few different ones here, and we're going to go through these together. All right. So this layout I did pick out. This one, I was like humming and hawing. Is this the one I want? Is it what I want? But I think what adds to what layouts stand out to you as your favorite, I can't even say favorite, guys. It's just, it can't happen. But when you flip through your album, I guess I should say. Layouts, there were certain ones that stood out. This one stood out to me probably because I did want to talk about accessories, and I love Blossom. I actually use it a lot on my pages. Blossom is a really fun accessory, actually. And I just remember, of course, anytime I use Blossom, I always think, oh, that was so much fun, or oh, that came together in such a different way. It looks different on all your pages. So these are just some pieces from the Blossom accessory, which again, you can use that coupon on. But I share this often, and I notice I do it often. It definitely is one of my favorites, is a photo lineup where you just display your photos in kind of across the middle of your page. And it doesn't even have to always be in the middle of your page. It could be top of the page. It could be a lineup on the side of your page. But I do always enjoy a photo lineup. I just feel like it's clean and it captures your attention when you're looking back on those memories. And I just feel like it really wraps in all those creative expressions that we do often with our accessories and our papers, right? And we combine those with our photos, and that's really what creates this kind of page that you get to jump back into and relive. This was also a really fun trip. I remember this phase of life with Maddie, and it was just fun to kind of see her grow into her own as well, which I think is why I was so inspired to use this specific paper kit. It was like Shine, Believe You Can. So it was just very much that age. And believe it or not, with 4 girls, I actually don't utilize a lot of pink. I don't scrapbook a lot of pink. And so I think that's also what stood out to me on this page, because I have pink in pages, but it's not like a primary color that you think that would often be utilized. But I love a mixture of the colors. I love a mixture of styles in my papers. I'm not one just to stick to all brights or all pinks or things like that. So, but here's this little collage. I think the other great thing about this page, just kind of from a takeaway point of view, is that there's this combination of stickers with your paper. And stickers are, for me, and I'll just say it, are a love-hate relationship. I think we all went through that sticker phase and it was great, but they are a little, I don't know, sometimes they just fall flat sometimes. But so you really have to be specific on where you place them on your page. I do love this word here, the shine, and it was an easy word. I didn't have to pull out stamps, or I didn't have to die cut anything, right? So that's what's beneficial about stickers, is they are kind of really quick and fast to place on a page and stick somewhere. But where you stick them, I think, does matter. And having something that also helps build the page from a structure point, so that the stickers don't feel so left field, I guess is what I would say. So yeah, that's a page. Okay, another thing I'm noticing with these layout shares, it's actually hard for me to dissect my own pages because it's like you're trying to pull out tips on your own. So if you guys see something that inspires you, do throw it in the chats. This one is a more recent page. Many of you guys probably remember me sharing this because it is a more recent page. But I will say that it stood out to me. And, maybe it's because July 4th is coming up, and it just makes me think of course, my grandpa. This is pictures of my grandpa when he served in World War II. And it was a page I was kind of holding on to, or as far as pictures, I was holding off just a little bit. I feel like in some ways I had various pictures of my grandpa, but I had these already printed, and I did not quite, just didn't feel timing right until timing felt right to scrapbook them. Isn't that peculiar how that happens? Sometimes it just doesn't feel right until it feels right. And I felt that way with this page, that when I was scrapbooking it, it felt right, like the right time to do it. As far as the structure of the layout, I do have a layout, again, a photo lineup. As far as my pictures across the page, I'm not structuring top, left, bottom. Again, I love white space. Naturally, you would think, oh, I got to fill all that up. For me, I wanted it front and center. I think that's why, again, I love a photo lineup, because they create a front and center of your photos. Um, and I only had these 3 pictures. So because of that, I was able to really dress up, which is where, those other layers come in with accessories or other things around that. I actually didn't use any borders on this page. I feel like the hexagons played the role as far as anchoring. So that's why we often talk about that, where you can use borders or backdrops, or you can merge them together. You can use borders and backdrops together, or if you don't want to, if you're looking for design that maybe is not quite calling for a border, then the backdrops still help from a design perspective to give a nice structure and anchor to your page, just like the borders do. So those are the 2 paths that I often say, hey, if you want to go start with the path with their backdrops designs, or you can start the path with a border. Anyways, and then I just kind of accessorized up and around that. And that's where accessories are amazing, of course. They create really quick, fast things. I use literally scraps of paper. Actually, that's another thing I remember with this page. That's probably why I didn't use a border. Now that I think about it, I didn't quite have, I was kind of piecing a few things together. Even on this hexagon, I was piecing that together here out of my scraps, but because it was going across a 2-page layout, it actually was a great way to use your scraps because of that. And then, of course, I cut strips and filled the inside of the hexagon. And then I fussy cut these stars out of the paper. So everything you see here really was pulling on the paper. Actually, I don't see any other embellishments that is not paper. These are, I could have used enamel dots or something else like that, right? Like often we will pull from our stash for those, but in this case, I just used the stars from the paper. And then I pulled Adventure, love Adventure. It's a great set, accessory set. So again, another great accessory. And I cut one out of paper, and then I took the star, and I didn't either want paper because I didn't want the bulkiness, or again, I don't think I had the paper because I was using scraps of paper. So I pulled out the stars that I needed, but I wanted a few more. So in this case, I just took the template, of course, itself. For example, let's say if this was a star, laid it here, and then used it as a stenciling tool versus a template where you cut it out of paper. So this was really nice. And then I balanced left, right, left, right. And then, oh yeah, and then I used the in loving memory template here as another alternative way to utilize that template. So again, this was kind of a newer layout, but I enjoyed it intensely. So very much. And this was just a fun technique, guys. Like you could take the inside of a circle and do waves for a beach page. You could do, oh gosh, I really feel like you could fill in the middle of something to create a fun thing. But this, honestly, I almost want to do this again. Maybe I will for a 4th of July page because it was really fun and a great way to use up your scraps of paper. We're always looking for ways to use our scraps of paper up, right? And then this QR code, I was just really excited to finally place that on a page. And I think that was nice for me to remember to do that because this is actually an interview. It takes them to a video of my grandpa. He was getting interviewed for a newspaper, I believe, or a news channel, just talking about World War II. Yeah, so that was like a few years before he passed away. And so I am so glad that that lives now here in my family albums. Not only the pictures, but also him talking about his experience, which is raw and real, and it's priceless. So, all right. Okay. This one really is absolutely one of my favorite pages. I will say, I guess I can label this as a favorite because it was so much fun. These pictures I didn't take. I think that added to the joy of this page. They were pictures that Lacey took of Eli, and they were just kind of out there doing their own little selfies and stuff. And then I happened to come across these pictures and stole them because I was like, I must have them. But I feel like that really adds to it, just them being simple and it's just, I mean, I actually wrote it in my journaling, just there's something magical about simple things. And I think that I love that they were able to capture it themselves and see the value in capturing these little things that they have moments and memories together. So yay for bubbles, yay for photos, yay for cameras. It was the best invention ever because we get to freeze times like this that just bring so much happiness to our lives, right? So yay for all of that. I did actually do a photo lineup again. So again, not that I always do that. I really don't, but it tends to be the ones that I am drawn to. So I think it's fair to say that a photo lineup is one of my favorite go-tos. But I did a 2-row lineup. I did bottom row, top row, and then these are mini borders here. And then I just, again, filled in any of these gaps. In this case, I used rings, which are more categorized as a backdrop. Universally amazing. Can never go wrong with rings. Even if you, like, a lot of people are like, I have ring cutters, and I know that that's a thing. But I will say from a designing principle, I have not been more inspired. Is that right? Whatever. I have been more inspired by rings in the ability to play with them tangibly with other elements and accessories, like layering different accessories with them, than I would probably say any other designer template. That's why we talk so heavily about rings, because it's not just not just the ability to cut rings or to do rings. It's the ability to play with rings. And yeah, so I'm a huge fan of rings. I think anybody that gets them will never regret them. Even if you just design with the rings and let them inspire you because you're playing with them tangibly. And then if you want to use a ring cutter, then fine. So anyways, just a little thing there. So this is a Tiny Celebrate. Love Tiny Celebrate because the pinwheel, and then you can fold it into a 3D. So this is just the same template, the orange piece and this top piece. I just kept this one flat, and then I folded in the corners on this other one here. And then I did do more enamel dots, so more little embellishings along with that. But really, that's all the embellishing I did was these little more glossy enamel dots that just added to the bubble fill. I think I actually bought these with this page in mind. So I love when you buy embellishments and you have a game plan for them. That's actually the best way to buy embellishments. But otherwise, these accessories, these different layers that I added, again, utilizing paper, our paper stash, I've used multiple times on different layouts. Rings, especially. Actually talking about rings, here we go. I've used it again. The amount of times I've used rings is out of control. But again, I think this is a more recent page, but it could not be lost in the shadows because I think this is supposed to be more in the middle. I didn't know how that happened. We'll move that back over. I used Blossom again. So I love, this is kind of a photo lineup again, but it adds a little flair to it using the banners and stuff. But the rings here, guys, I already talked about this layout recently. It is one of my favorites, one of my absolute favorites. So I loved the combination of the black and white and the color, and I loved how easily Blossom again. I do think Blossom is probably one of my favorite accessories now that I'm looking at it. I don't know if I would have known that until I looked at all my pages. So recently, again, I actually used a lot from my embellishment stash. When I say embellishment, like my buttons, these little flourishes, along with the accessory sets to kind of add these little nice clusters. But in this case, I actually did pull a lot of texture things, more so than other layouts, I guess I should say, from my embellishment stash. Buttons, these little flourish things that I had. It does make it a little bulkier, I will say, on this layout, but it was super enjoyable, really fulfilling to add even my add-on grows here to this title in those gold letters. All right, should we keep going? I'm trying to decide where's the cutoff because technically that is 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we could go like one more. Which one out of this pile? Which one do I share? Okay, I'm gonna go this one. This is one of my favorites too. So this felt like a very customized page, meaning very specific to the memories that are happening. And when that happens for me, that is definitely, I pull on a lot of behind the moments like journaling and stuff. And so this specific template just called for a nice space for journaling. So that's worked out nicely for this memory. And then the capture just for mom, that like, so that's what I mean by customized. Like there was a specific point that I wanted to stand out on these memories. And so from a title point, I pulled out my supplies. Gosh, guys, talk about stickers, like letter stickers. I'm still working through a good amount of my supplies from a letter stickers point of view. And it takes more work, I would say, when you customize a title, sometimes more time than I have, but there are pages like these that I'm like, I'm gonna customize a layout. Actually, the one layout that I'm working on that I keep telling you that I'm doing 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there throughout the last few days. I was trying to make this title card work, and I was like, you know what, it's just not hitting home. And I was like, I think I'm gonna have to customize my own title. So whether you use, crickets and things, that's where I think crickets and things like that are great, is when you're cutting out letters or titles. They really help. Or stickers. Use that sticker stash, because I have drawers full of sticker stashes still. I've used a lot of my other stashes, but that drawer of stickers, letters is still dwindling slowly, but we'll get there. All right. Gwendolyn says, Susan, how do you make the trees? Oh, these trees? These trees were part of, I'm trying to remember what set that was. They're part of the limited editions, because this was from a Kiwi Club kit. So they're not one of the accessories, but it was a template. I just cut it out of the template. I'll have to pull out the app. Let's see, because I don't know all the names. I used to, far back, years ago, be able to tell you exactly what a name of a template. Oh, I Was Here. This is the I Was Here template set. That just came to my mind. So, but I'm going to search trees anyways. We're just going to make sure that I'm not getting false information out. Click to search trees. There's a few trees in there. Anyways, but yes, it was a fun set. I Was Here. Actually, I love that set too, guys. It is a great one. So check that out on that. But yes, that's the set that it came up. So I Was Here. Love the templates for this month. Yes, I agree. Super fun.
Deborah says,
keep going. Keep going.
Cherise says,
I'll show them all. I did pull them out, and that's half the battle. So, okay, I will quickly run through it. I do think that those are the ones that stood out to me, but here's another one. This is another layout. I think it's, again, it is the combination always. I don't know what defines a favorite layout. Who knows? But of papers, pictures, and just the joy that you felt when you were creating with it. I remember using the country accessory set. So that is another accessory set that is really, really fun. So again, make sure you check out that flash sale for this summer. So today's flash sale, we decided randomly to throw out 25% off all accessories. And the coupon is accessory 25. So use that at checkout for the next 24 hours, guys. And I'm just naming a few accessories and how they, I've used them multiple times on different layouts, because that's the beauty of them, that you can use them with different papers. But country is a fun one. And then this just got unvaulted. What is that? Blooming or bouquet? I think it's called bouquet. So this is when we first released it, but now we just unvaulted it. If anyone got it during that pre-order time period, you should be getting those soon. So, the strips were fun, and Lacey, it's just a fun age. It was just overall really fun page to do. I will say, I think even these little embellishments that I pulled out, looking at them, I remember it was one of those embellishments that you're like, I probably had for over 10 years. And then there's something rewarding with taking those embellishments and finally like putting them on a page. And the colors seem to work out great. Tell you the truth, I don't think I would buy any type of embellishments like this anymore, but I did have them in my stash, so I decided to use them because the color worked out with this kit. But I don't think I would ever buy anything like that anymore just because of the bulkiness. But so I've evolved, I will say, from that point as far as finding out what works and what doesn't work when I'm buying any type of new little embellishments. But so this page, like I said, that was kind of nice to add those little details because I've had them for years, but it's a little bulkier than I like. But I love this page. I love the strips here. I love the framing here. I love the little mirroring of the strip or scallops. It's been a long time since I've done that, but it's a great way to get use out of the other side. When you cut a scallop out, you can use it down here with just a basic strip. Super fun. And I just love how happy the page is. I think that's why I enjoy it. But this specific kit that I created this page that was its whole point. It was named Happy. All the title cards were happy, happy, happy. And honestly, that's what you get that's your kind of outcome that you get when you use that kit. It just left you happy. And looking back on the pages years later, because this was years ago, it makes me happy still. So I love it. All right, here's another one. Actually, it's Lacey again. I did a highlight of Lacey. This is back in 2020. Yep. And we were just getting outside and walking around, because that's all we could do in 2020, it felt like. But I just remember actually, David took these pictures. You took these pictures. I didn't take these pictures. Yeah, you did a great job. I just remember thinking at this prime time of her life, 14 or whatever it was, just how lucky I was to get pictures, because that seems like an age that's hit and miss. But overall, I will say this page, I love the contrast between the dark blue and the yellow. I think that's what grabs my attention when I was looking through like what pages stood out to me when I was looking through my albums. I had so much fun using the placemat here. I want to say that's right when we first released them, and I remember enjoying it so much. I have Blossom again here. So I am seeing a Blossom theme here happening. This is really fun. So this is such a simple technique, but we often talk about using like shape scissors. So like these, right? So when you trace out your border, the one border down the middle, you use some shape scissors and cut them out one up the middle, and you'll get this little decorative edge, right? And so that automatically happens on the both sides. This side has that little decorative edge too. But in this case, because the pattern was blue on blue, this was a good example of where maybe you want to line your border. And so I just took cream cardstock and lined it, but on the bottom layer, I used straight scissors. And I really feel like it's something simple. And honestly, I should do that again on my next upcoming layout, because it's so fun to see the little detail with the straight edge of the two being layered together there. So this is kind of a very, I wouldn't say simple, but simple page. Came together with these placemats really fast. And I think that also adds to my joy of it, because yeah, I love it. All right. I have one more that I pulled out, and then we'll, this one I pulled out. This has a lot going on, more so than I typically do on pages. And when I say a lot going on, just a lot more embellishing kind of things. And so I absolutely loved, I remember I spent a little bit of attention just on adding these layers here to this frame. And this is something I remember when I got done doing, I was like, I would do that again. You ever have moments like that where you finish something and you think, oh, what other page can I do the same thing on? This is one of those things. I absolutely will do this again. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed adding all these little frames around the frames and then having those pictures come out. I can see that on a wedding page, a baby page, just so many various ways I could see that. Just making a huge impact and enhancing a page lovely. This was from the Safari set. I want to say it was called Safari. I'm like spacing on that too now. Let me check this. Oh no, it was called, yeah. Oh yeah. It was called Safari, the template set. So that was one of the Kiwi Club limited editions. So again, those Kiwi Clubs, they really spark you and challenge you in new ways. And I definitely, I love a good surprise to a challenge, right? Like and that was one of them. I just remember thinking that was so much fun. And then I used Nature Walk on this. So the rest came together because I just kind of stuck to Nature Walk, flowers and borders and butterflies. And I just, once I did this layering, I was just, what other ribbons? Because I don't know about you guys, but we talked about stickers a little bit, but ribbons are another hit and miss for me. It's just where to use them, right? Sometimes it can be hit and miss on the ribbon front. But once I built this like kind of ribbon front, and I of course wanted to balance it and added ribbon over here. And then it's not necessarily lace or ribbon, it's lace. But then I was like, oh, let me soften the edges here. Honestly, this could have probably done without the lace and been fine, but I was in the mood. I was in the mood, so I just kept going. So I would guess I'd call this my ribbon page because I don't pull on ribbon often, just because sometimes it's more of a hassle than I like. But I will say it was a fun challenge, and I was really happy with the results. Like very surprised with those results, and that's always a great feeling in and of itself. But otherwise, I think having these little pictures here and there, because I knew I wanted to keep it clean, but I wanted to add more pictures. And this is where those little 2x2s from Mini Photos come in handy, is whenever you're like, oh, but I like this. I don't want to crowd it, but I really want to add a few more photos in. This is where little detail photos. And so that's where I took a few of those other photos that I wanted to be incorporated into this page, and then kind of added them as those detail corner pieces to this memory. And then same thing, I just kind of clustered these frames and these things, and then actually added my journaling to this little bracket from Nature Walk again. Surprisingly, I talk about Nature Walk a lot, but they weren't the ones this time that I was flipping through my albums. But honestly, I can't even say that these are my favorite favorites, because I was so distraught trying to pick out layouts from my albums. Like, which ones? I don't know. This is so hard. So those are the layouts for today's memory lane. I hope that they inspired you guys. And thank you guys so much for, hanging out with me for a moment. Sheree says, what is the app you're using to look up the template names? Oh, well, let me tell you about this app. This app is pretty great. It's the DT checklist. If you haven't downloaded it yet, I just showed my code. I'm kidding. My husband's like, don't show your code. I totally did show my code on it. I guess I'll be changing my code to my phone, guys. Anyways, the DT checklist app, you go to the app store. It's just Kiwi Lane DT checklist. And it has all the different templates, specifically templates, because that's what it's for. And, there's different categories down here. But most of the time when I'm looking for a set, I just use the search function. And you could search key terms or names of templates. So like sun, let's go ahead and take sun, go. Click to search, and it will pull up sets that all have some sense of a sun that you can use. Maybe not first impression, you would think sun on some of these, but you would be surprised, right? Like maybe that is like kind of like a pinwheel that we used it for, but now that I'm seeing it as a keyword term, that could actually be a really cute sun. I have not used it that way, but it could be really cute. So that's just an example, of course, of that. and it's free. It's an app that we provide, and you can even come down here and you could say, email me. And then you can say, I want you to email me only my want list or my wish list or my own it list. And you can click email me and it will send that to your email. The reasons that I said want list is because you'll see here it says own it or want it. If you click the own it, then you can keep a list of your upcoming wish list that you want, or you can email it to a husband or a family member that you're like, here's what I want for my next birthday or whatever. So also a little insight on this, since we're talking about it, the want it is actually where we here at home office here, right, that also will go check that and help us determine what things to unvault. So we'll go check how many people have this item checked as wanted, and then that will help us determine the popularity of unvaulting something. So definitely click the ones you want, click the ones that you own so you can keep track of your own collection. Any of the ones that have this little KC by it are from Kiwi Clubs, limited editions, and or if it doesn't have that, then it's from other ones. So yeah, go download it. It's in the App Store for both Android and Apple. All right. Well, thanks again, guys, so much. Don't forget, if there is talking about wanted, an accessory specifically, make sure to take advantage of this flash sale that we have going on. And the coupon is accessory 25. So you could definitely, again, take advantage of that. All right. Well, hopefully I look forward to seeing if you guys create something using one of these ideas, these finished layouts as your spring, where there's so much inspiration that we can find in our finished pages. So a good layout share is really fun. It's just hard to pick out which layouts to share. Which one of all these albums do I share? But hopefully, like I said, you are inspired one of them. And if you are, tag me. I would love to see your version of something that you were inspired by today. All right. Until next time, keep laying to great. Bye, guys.